If one big beautiful bill has left you with one big confusing question, turn to BHM CPA Group. Their experienced professionals break down complex changes in tax law, accounting, and business regulations so you can make informed decisions with confidence. Simplifying the complex is what BHM CPA Group does best. Don't wait. Visit bhmcpagroup.com and let's get to work. BHM, because running a business is hard enough. Your finances shouldn't be. Visit bhmcpagroup.com today. Legislation is changing. Budgets are shifting, and terms like one big beautiful bill can feel anything but beautiful. That's where BHM CPA Group steps in. BHM's purpose is to simplify the complex. Their team is trained to meet today's challenges with real-world solutions in tax, accounting, and business planning. Get the clarity you deserve so that your business can thrive. Don't wait. Visit bhmcpagroup.com. That's bhmcpagroup.com. BHM, because running a business is hard enough. Your finances shouldn't be.
It's Monday.
It's August 11th.
And the word of the day is quincunx, which means an arrangement of 5 objects with 1 in the center and 4 surrounding it. Used in a sentence. Mehdi Hassan thought a quincunx surrounded by neo-Nazis was too easy, so he ramped it up to 20 and thoroughly embarrassed them.
Oh yeah, that really was a room full of kunks.
You look around that room and you think someone fed Charlie Kirk after midnight and then spilled water on him.
Told you not to.
Yeah. I'm Michael Marshall.
I'm Cecil Something Italian.
I'm Heath Enright, and broadcasting delayed from America's Far Center and across the pond. We are the Skepticrats.
On this week's episode, I'm gonna have to see some ID before I can tell you what's happening in my country.
The DOJ is definitely hiring from Monster.com.
And we learn how flying monsters from the Book of Revelation might affect your weekend.
Oh no.
But first, the rest of the intro music.
Joining me for headlines tonight are my fellow Skepticrats, Michael, Marshall, and Cecil Something Italian of the podcasting empire that includes the No Rogan Experience. Gentlemen, are you the Joe Rogans of the left that everyone's been asking for?
Well, I mean, I have made a podcasting career out of interviewing people who are either lying to me, dangerously misguided, or mentally ill, so maybe?
Skill set's there.
Yeah, and I like watching people get punched in the face, so we're like a Captain Planet Joe Rogan. Except this Captain Planet doesn't believe in climate change, so it's a little different.
Yeah. That's how it works. All right, in our lead story tonight, Cecil is not housing fugitive Democrats from Texas at his place in Illinois.
Can't prove anything.
And whoever said that just now is a liar. Wink. I winked just now in real life apropos of nothing. And I narrated my wink, apparently. Anyway, our country is insane, so most of that stuff I just mentioned is actually real. The state of Texas is trying to do another giant cheating thing with their congressional map. Nice. And Democrats in the Texas legislature fled the state to prevent the official legal process that would finalize the giant cheating. They're allegedly holed up in Illinois somewhere. Or are they? Interesting. Regardless, lunatics are doing bomb threats at a hotel in Illinois, and Texas Republicans are attempting to carry out a literal manhunt to find the missing Democrats.
Okay, but like while they're at it, if they could also find all the Democrats who went missing in November, they'd be doing us all like a major solid. They really would.
Okay, hold on now, Marsh. Schumer changed the name of the Big Beautiful Bill to, let me see here. Oh, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act.
There it is.
So, I mean, crushed it.
Cool. The So here's the background on the giant cheating thing called gerrymandering. Republicans have a tiny majority in the U.S. House, and thanks to Trump's policies being terrible for almost everyone who's not rich, which is almost everyone, there's a good chance of Democrats taking control of the House after the midterms next year. I'm sure we'll find a way to fuck it up, but Trump doesn't know that for sure. So he called up Texas and told them to redraw their map with insane fucking Swiss cheese shapes and artificially gain 5 seats for the GOP. Texas already did a big racist gerrymander with their map in 2021. But apparently they're like, every idiot friend from childhood during any game, and they didn't cheat very well. They need to cheat some more. So they drew up a double cheating map. Normally, states only create a new map once every 10 years after a census. But on the other hand, we're fucking cheating. Go fuck yourself. We're doing it.
Yeah, but like the last map, that was a cheating under Biden map. That was what they thought they could get away with after their guy had lost. How were they supposed to know you'd all be stupid enough to re-elect the physical manifestation of dirty politics for a second time? You've got to let them have the do-over. You've got to.
Yeah. First, just going to wipe the lube off here and see how it goes this time, what do you say?
So here's how we get to fugitive legislators getting hunted by fucking Chuck Norris through the streets of Chicago.
Oh, God.
Texas Ranger with a walker. He's pretty old now, right? So in order to make their cheating map official, Texas Republicans in the legislature need an approval vote, and that requires a quorum of at least 2/3 of the members in each chamber. So Democrats just left the state to block the quorum. And apparently that's working, at least for the moment, which is kind of confusing to me. These Republicans are willing to violate the, First Amendment, 14th Amendment, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and just basic morality about democracy, and create a map that's racist as fuck, but they're sticklers for a proper quorum? It's a weird fucking line.
Yeah, it is a weird line, but in fairness, that's because it's been redrawn so many times in successive gerrymandering efforts.
Yeah, at this point, the map looks like one of those posters where you cross your eyes and see a sailboat.
It's a schooner. So, in response to the quorum being blocked, Texas Governor Greg Abbott ordered the Texas Department of Public Safety to, quote, locate, arrest, and return to the House chamber any fugitive Democrats in Illinois. But that's nothing, because Illinois is famously not inside of Texas. Feeling stupid about apparently not knowing that, Abbott then filed a lawsuit with the Texas Supreme Court, trying to just remove the Democrats from office entirely. But even fellow Republican Ken Paxton, the Texas Attorney General, told Abbott that was also stupid. Even with the Supreme Court of Texas making a decision, Paxton said it's highly unlikely that Abbott can sue like 50 elected officials out of their office. So that's when Republican Senator John Cornyn of Texas narked to the FBI, hoping for help with the manhunt in Illinois. Apparently the FBI said yes. In response to that, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker explained how, once again, that's nothing, guys. He happily welcomed the FBI to his lovely state, offered them some of their lovely food, and they will not be arresting any lawmakers because no laws have been broken. And the Texas House Democratic Caucus posted a statement on Twitter as well. It said, Greg Abbott threatened lawmakers with arrest and expulsion for denying him a quorum. Come and take it. And that last part is the battle cry of the Texas Revolution. So, history thing, fucking nailed it in their face. There's also a graphic of an old-timey cannon below this statement on Twitter.
Okay, like, that's fine and all, but it's not a great sign for your democracy that the best and most decisive course of action for the Democrats is running away and then sending mean tweets. Like, it's not representative democracy as it was intended on paper. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, Marsh, it's not the one we want, but it is the one we deserve.
Yeah,
that is
true.
Yeah.
Well, it might have been Federalist 27. Madison said manhunt through Chicago. I forget what it was. It's been a long time since I studied that stuff. So I do love the tenacity from the fugitives, but rules don't matter, and I'm assuming the new map is going to happen somehow. But don't worry. Democratic leaders across the country have discussed a range of ideas to deal with it. That includes telling mom about the cheating and writing strongly worded letters to the editor of print newspapers. Apparently, that's the high road. So good luck with the high road, everybody. Fortunately, we also got some basic logic. Apparently, basic logic is the low road now. And blue states like California, Illinois, and New York are looking into playing by the same rules as the other team and redrawing their maps. Critics of that move are saying it leads to an arms race of gerrymandering. Proponents, on the other hand, are saying It leads to an arms race of gerrymandering, which is way better than just continuing to lose and possibly losing even harder idiots. So, what are you guys thinking? How does this work?
So I'm thinking you don't just do it, but you also find a way to like code insults to the Republicans into the state boundary lines. You know, maybe gerrymander a county into a middle finger, or or maybe a crude representation of that photo of Trump with his good friend Jeffrey Epstein. You know, get creative with it.
I like that.
Heath, there's more red space. They are going to win. You go to Iowa, there's a district with more cows named Daisy than registered voters. They're going to win this fight.
They're probably going to win the arms race, but it's like if you don't do anything, they're going to win by even more. Yeah.
I'm with you on do something.
You are
but I am
right.
going to say this battle you might win Illinois, but you will definitely lose the war.
For sure. Marsh, I like your drawing idea, but maybe like draw that stupid outline of the lady that he did for his letter to
Yeah, that would work.
Make a district that shape. All right. So as I understand it, in actual democracies, like the UK monarchy, for example,
Thank you very
that
much,
democracy, you can't do extremely obvious gerrymandering just on a whim, because maps are drawn by an independent, multi-partisan commission on a set schedule with public transparency and automatic adoption of the maps by Parliament, regardless of the ruling party. It sounds delightful over there. But Marsh, you guys get our right-wing bullshit like 5 seconds later.
Yeah, true.
You might want to tell your boy Keir to lock down the rules while you still can, and probably do some pre-cheating of your own. That's the dominant strategy in the game you're about to be playing. The pre-cheating is the dominant strategy.
Yeah, that's fair, because Keir Starmer has not shown that he's able to do the locking down of the rules sensibly on pretty much anything, so we can't rely on that. So to be honest, my solution, I'm just up for redistricting everything north of Liverpool, like Liverpool and north of that, as part of Scotland, and we'll just let the Tories fight Nigel Farage for everything in the south. I'll take that.
I'm with you.
If only you spoke the same language, man.
Maybe you get into the EU again?
Oh,
Schengen? It'd be so exciting for you. You would be just north of that line you were drawing, right? You would be just north of it?
I'd put it on the border, like run the River Mersey, everything across from the River Mersey. I'm on the shore of the River Mersey. I'd get that. I would Schengen so hard around Europe. I would Schengen the arse off Europe.
Nice. Just made it. Mason-Dixon line for the UK. All right. Well, speaking of the death of world democracy, you probably want some nice shirts or whatever. So we're going to take a quick break for a word from our sponsor, Quint. Hey, podcast listener. I'm Heath Enright, a fashion-impaired podcaster, here to tell you about Quint. I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to shopping for clothes. I went to a store in the mall and somebody asked what I was looking for. I think I just said shirts, and then I panicked and left. Luckily, Quint became a sponsor, and I got to check out their stuff. Everything I found was high quality, comfortable, and at prices that made sense. Quint has closet staples you want to reach for over and over, like cashmere and cotton sweaters from just $50, breathable flow knit polos, and comfortable, lightweight pants that somehow work both for weekend hangs and dressed up dinners. So what's the best part? Everything with Quint is half the cost of similar brands. By working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middlemen, Quint gives you luxury pieces without the markup. And Quint only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. And speaking of those dressed up dinners I mentioned, if you're the type of person who goes to a dinner party and you often start a made-up game of throwing and catching random objects with a point system that you made up on the spot, it turns out the Flow Knit Breeze Performance Polo is exactly what you need for that moment. Light, breathable, good range of motion, but I didn't have to be a grown-up who wears that same Under Armour shirt that he puts under hockey pads. And same goes for the golf course. I got a performance jersey golf polo that's my new go-to for summer golfing. And all the shirts I looked at were surprisingly affordable, all in like the $30 to $40 range. So keep it classic and cool with long-lasting staples from Quint. Go to quince.com/skepticrat for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/skepticrat to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/skepticrat.
And we're back. And next up in headlines, putting the ID in idiotic news. Look, I'll be more than happy to tell you, gents, what's been going on here in the UK. But before I can do that, given that this show, it's a show that sometimes uses salty language, I think legally I have to send you both my credit card details and a biometric scan of my face to prove I'm old enough to hear you both say fuck. Like, I think those are the new rules under the Online Safety Act that became law on July 25th, and it's just made the internet here in the UK just incredibly stupid.
Okay, Marsh, I would card you if you came into TGI Fridays while I was bartending. You're very youthful.
Go home until you can grow a mustache. Go on.
I will never leave the house again. I will never be allowed to leave the house again. It's impossible. Not happening.
What's your astrological sign? Virgo, Leo, shit. Get out.
Okay, so let me explain. As we've highlighted for a while now, we've been witnessing this rising international tide in prudishness driven by extreme conservatives, which is ironic because it's the only rising sea level they can universally agree on.
Okay, but it was so prudish in the Victorian era.
It was
cyclical.
That is true. So in America, that's resulted in various states passing porn ID laws, forcing adults in those states to have to prove to whoever on the internet that they're old enough to legally see boobs. Of course, people have just found their way around that, including using VPNs to appear to be in a different state whenever they feel like visiting their pornographer of choice. And it's a really silly law, but it's one that's at least relatively easy to work around and wank around.
Well, as a kid who grew up without a Cinemax subscription, I can get one off to like a really squiggly TV film negative.
Yes, absolutely. Fucking raw dog in life, Cecil. You get it. Back in the... I used a wax cylinder like a fleshlight, and I still do. It's delightful.
So here in the UK, we saw your stupid porn ID laws, and we said, hold my beer while I find some way to prove I'm legally old enough to drink it. Because our new act, it doesn't just mean you've got to show ID to access pornography. It makes it a legal requirement for visiting any website where users could, theoretically, show something mature where someone under 18 could, theoretically, see it.
Shit.
Which means, yes, the porn sites that you hide away in that bookmark folder labelled, just admin, nothing to see here, move on. But it also means Reddit. And Twitter, you now can't use without giving your ID. A host of other websites as well. Wikipedia has said it might introduce caps on UK users because they have to verify you if you want to read about something mature. There are paintings from the Renaissance that have boobs in them that you can't view now without giving ID. Paintings that hung in fucking churches, you now have to show ID to be able to see on Wikipedia. It's ridiculous. Blue Sky now requires you to prove your age before you're allowed to use their direct messaging functionality at all. Because, you know, what if somebody used that messaging functionality to say boob to someone who turned out to be a child? A child who presumably would have to be pretending to be a disillusioned middle-aged Labour voter like everyone else on UK Blue Sky.
Okay, aren't they all part of, like, your party now or the after party or whatever, that new party that you can just create in the UK with a fucking blog post and get 500,000 people on board right away? It sounds amazing over there. I'm very jealous. The porn thing, incredibly stupid, but I'm also very jealous of your political system.
Oh, yeah. You can set up a blog and tell people you're a party, and a load of people will start following it. Doesn't mean you'll do anything. Like, they're not going to fucking do anything. They're not a threat to anything electorally.
It's not going anywhere.
No, we're still going to be fucked. The right wing, the split right wing will unify. The left wing will stay split. We will lose every election from here on in. That's just kind of how it will work.
Sounds like our wing.
We'll have another left wing party to vote for, so that'll be lovely for people to waste their votes on. That'd be a charming thing. So even at this point, Spotify makes you verify your age before you're allowed to listen to music with explicit themes. Like, genuinely, I was thinking about this. If you listen to this show in the UK, there's a very good chance you'll need to verify your age first because we swear on this show and it's marked as explicit. So it means it's like one of those parental advisory explicit content stickers that you used to get in the 1990s, but instead of being on the front of a CD, they're on the front of the record store and they're enforced by a bouncer. Spotify has even said it may delete the accounts of people who fail age verification, just delete them entirely.
Bouncer looks at your ID. Sorry, bud, this is a fake. I have to take this and I have to kill you.
Yeah. The scissors are for both, actually.
Yeah.
And look, this isn't just something that the kid behind the counter selling the CDs can just turn a blind eye to, because there are serious fines involved in this. Like, anyone could be found guilty of letting adults use the internet without checking their wallets first, and they could incur fines of £18 million, or I think it's 10% of global revenues, whichever of those figures is higher. And as a result, there's some websites that obviously can't afford a potential fine and can't afford the cost of running an age verification on everybody. They've just shut down. That includes a discussion board for fans of Wrexham Football Club.
Come on.
Sinclair QL forum for fans of the Sinclair QL personal computer. Urban Dead, which is an online zombie apocalypse game with 1,500 active players a day, just shut down because it can't afford the age ID. And a forum for single dads to share their experiences of being single dads with other fathers.
Got him.
In the name of protecting children, the law has shut down a support network for single dads.
Jesus
Christ. And also, not a surprise here, but information on what's happening in Gaza in some cases has also been classified as mature content, and now it's hidden behind a verification wall.
Yeah, and if you go near the verification wall, the IDF fires on.
Oh, God damn. Holy shit.
So, unsurprisingly, this has caused just a huge issue across the entire country. And it is obviously a major... Wait, hang on, Cecil, what's your date of birth?
According to Eli, it's like 1647, so I'm good.
Okay, thank you, yeah. So a major fuck-up by the Labour government who've enacted this law. Though it is worth bearing in mind, they didn't draft this law. Labour didn't write this law. It was actually written 3 prime ministers ago during Boris Johnson's tenure, presumably as a last vain attempt to keep his mind off his libido for long enough to deal with the many crises that were happening during his government. Like, this is Boris Johnson we're talking about. The only time he's been motivated to think of the children is when he's forced to remember how many he has.
I know you're talking about like the Wayback Machine here, Marsh, but that's nothing. We've been waiting for a tiny trickle of economics since Reagan over here.
Yeah.
Really fucking long ice luge that just froze over right away. We're at the bottom still waiting. Yeah. Okay, but this whole porn thing, it feels like a gift to that new progressive party. Like, I get you're saying it's actually not going anywhere, but like, your party, after party, more come. I don't know, just like such obvious slogans that appeal to everybody. Porn stars at every campaign event. It's the ultimate populism.
Yeah, it'll be just Jeremy Corbyn arm in arm with several porn stars, and that will be an electoral win for the entire country.
That sounds amazing.
You gotta file your ballot through a glory hole. It's perfect.
We're brainstorming. It's an amazing idea, Cecil.
So this law, drafted by Boris Johnson's government, was then passed in October 2023 in the dying embers of the Rishi Sunak government, meaning he knew the next government would have to enact the law that he brought in. That said, Labour could have chosen to amend the law rather than enact the version the Tories drafted. And they've not done that. They've had plenty of opportunity to adjust this law to be less ridiculously stupid, and they haven't done that. And even worse, they're actively defending the law as it stands. So Labour's Technology Secretary, Peter Kyle, claimed that people who oppose this law, such as Reform PLC leader Nigel Farage, saying those people are on the side of notorious paedophile Jimmy Savile.
Come on, really? Like, all right, we could have foiled Jimmy Savile if those CDs with 50 free hours on AOL had a parental warning and a bouncer? What are they talking about?
So Kyle told
Don't make me agree with Nigel Farage also.
Exactly. So Kyle told Sky News, make no mistake about it, if people like Jimmy Savile was alive today, he would be perpetrating his crimes online, and Nigel Farage is saying he's on their side, not the side of children, unquote.
Well, at least in your country, most people consider pedophiles to be the bad guys, though, right?
Yeah. Well, unless they're a prince, but like mostly that's good.
Now, okay, not to put the pedo into pedantic, but
Marsh just leaves a big gap.
Marsh is like, I ain't gonna get sued.
You've been beeping like most of the stuff I've said this whole time, right? Yeah. It's legal.
I did respond. It's just if anyone didn't hear me, it's because they haven't age verified to hear exactly what it was I was saying, and that was just taken out by the filter. But yeah, not to put the pedo into pedantic here, but Jimmy Savile groomed the majority of his victims via his celebrity status at the BBC during live recordings of his show, and through the access he was afforded to various hospitals and care homes because he was a celebrity. None of which any of these new laws would have stopped in any way. So the Labour politicians here are guilty of digging up a dead paedophile to smear their opponents. And worse than that, they're guilty of making Nigel Farage right about something.
Yes.
Unconscionable. Unconscionable. Though I think with Farage, scrapping the bill is maybe an act of self-preservation because his public profile will take a major hit if you stop people from searching online for cunts.
The hashtag gets him lots of like accidental traffic.
Yeah, it does. So what we're seeing here is what happens when "won't someone think of the children" becomes law. Especially when enacted by politicians who fundamentally don't understand the technology they're regulating, which is why they've been pressuring messaging services to install secret backdoors in their encryptions, but ones that only the good guys can ever use. And as ever, once someone starts to just think of the children, they lose the capacity for any other thought.
I'm just going to quickly write something in this spot to deter any talk of backdoors with any of the other stuff we've been talking about.
Hey, I was never mind.
Something's already here.
Oh, God, honestly.
Nigel Farage has really good SSEO.
Okay, so honestly, I have barely scratched the surface of this incredibly stupid law, and I haven't got the time or the space here to go into how, as it stands, each website is going to have to verify you independently and then keep a record of who you are and what you've been doing. This isn't a centralized thing. Every website will need to do that, and that is a record that they pinky swear they're not going to sell to a data broker or allow to get hacked by someone.
Of course not.
Just a group of hackers playing Go Fish. You got any Michael Marshalls?
Go Starfish.
And look, I haven't got time to go into how the facial verification systems misjudge people's ages by 5 years in around 30% of cases. And that's 5 years in either direction. So it will think that a 13-year-old is 18, and it'll sometimes think that an 18-year-old is 23 in about 30% of times. But it's fine, because you can actually bypass all that by pointing your camera at a YouTube video or even a fucking Sims character, and that's enough to hack the Face ID. My colleague Mike Hall at Skeptics with a K did a very detailed look at everything that's wrong technically with this law on episode 425 of Skeptics with a K. He did it with far more expertise than I will ever have.
Okay, so here's what I'm getting. Here's my takeaway. My amazing collection of vintage whatever is ripe for some arbitrage. Also, Marsh, I just sent you some Bibles in the mail. They're not hollowed out. Just regular Bibles.
So I'm off to get myself a VPN. Although, thanks to this stupid law, it is now illegal to discuss using VPNs to get around this law where any young person might see it. So that's not what I'm doing here. Wink. I just winked physically while doing this show.
And you narrated it. Yeah, no, that's something that a lot of us do.
Yeah, expressvpn.com/citation to get an extra 4 months free with ExpressVPN. And in insurrection lasting more than 4 hours news, a video shows a current Department of Justice official participating in the January 6th insurrection, egging on other rioters to kill the police. That's right. A former January 6th defendant is now a senior advisor to the Justice Department. He must have listed that on his CV right below, works well with others, an enthusiastic and dedicated self-starter.
Right, yeah. And I suspect he listed it as having extensive experience of the American criminal justice system. And then just hope they didn't ask from which side.
Yeah.
QAnon shaman guy applies for the job too. I'm not a DEI candidate. It's cool. This is a costume. I'm doing cultural appropriation. I'm a white guy doing. You like that?
In a story by the now hanging on a lifeline National Public Radio, they explain that they reviewed body cam footage from the riot. It clearly shows Jared Wise screaming at officers, calling them Nazis and Gestapo, and urging others to kill them while the officers were being attacked.
That must have been so confusing to be part of that January 6th riot, like shouting Nazis at the cops alongside your buddy who's wearing his Auschwitz sweatshirt and doing a Roman salute.
All right, time out. Everybody time out. We've got like Nazi anti-Nazis and we got anti-Nazi Nazis. It's confusing. Okay, if you're the first thing I said, raise your hand. Well, fuck, you all did the same angle. You all, all right. I don't know what we do.
In the linked courtroom testimony, there's a great bit on page 117. The prosecution gets him to admit that he meant several of the insults he shouted at officers, which were caught on tape. He yelled that they were just chasing a pension and that they should feel shame.
Wish I was just chasing a pension shamefully.
Whatever.
Or whatever adverb. It sounds great to be chasing a pension.
Then the prosecutor asks if he meant kill them. And Wise responds, no, I think that was just an angry reaction. And then the prosecutor replies, so you meant it 10 seconds before, and all of a sudden you don't mean it, right?
Oh, God, it's so good. Like, in that build-up, they're asking him several times, and did you mean the thing that you said? And each time he keeps saying, well, I assume so, otherwise I wouldn't have said it. And he can't see the trap that they're paving the way towards. It's like he's happily taken them up on their invitation to step into the oven, and then he's merrily turned the oven on for them, and then he's in there, like, basting himself to keep himself from drying out, and it's only at the very end that he realizes he's cooked.
Guys, what are all these frogs doing in the pot with me? Whatever. It's bath time. Let's do it.
But look, none of this matters because Wise was not convicted of any crimes related to January 6th thanks to President Trump's order to end all Capitol riot prosecutions. And they did not just end the prosecution in this case. They saw his photo and resume and they swiped right. And in this case, swiped alt-right. Wise, who worked at the FBI from 2004 to 2017 in counterterrorism, entered the Capitol that day and then left a few minutes later out a broken window, which is really strange considering it was described as very peaceful, a day of love, and nothing was done wrong.
Right, but the window was presumably broken by an overly enthusiastic high five gone awry. Which also explains why they had their arms up at their ankle as well.
Yeah, or it was the window that Josh Hawley dove through in a panic right after that running while needing to shit video we all saw.
Amazing. Wise was on trial for civil disorder, aiding and abetting assault, and disorderly conduct. His case went to trial just before Trump took office in January of this year. Here's what Greg Rosen, the lead from the Department of Justice at the time, said about Wise in his case. Quote, his prior experience as a police officer, as a law enforcement officer, certainly informed his understanding of what was right and wrong, and the circumstances he was presented with that day in the middle of that riot. Somebody who is in a better position of authority and somebody who is in a position of trust should know better, end quote. Once Trump came into office, he ended all those pending cases and they were dismissed.
We got to focus on the Epstein files. Wait, what? The first page? And then like a bunch more? Sorry, the pubes? I remember that.
Well, it's not exactly clear what Wise is advising the Department of Justice on. He appears to have been busy working on internal reviews of the weaponization of law enforcement.
And in an Apple a day keeps the fascist away news, Apple CEO Tim Cook gave Donald Trump a ceremonial bribe trophy at the White House last week. Cook did a tragic little grovel speech as he presented the offering without making eye contact, and he explained it's a unique piece, one of one, made by a veteran of the Marine Corps, should it please His Majesty. The top part of the trophy is a disc of Corning glass, 100% made in the USA, just like they're going to use for the screen of the new iPhones. And there's a cutout of the Apple logo in the glass. And the base is 24-karat solid gold.
Yeah, really putting the bribe into Briburn. It's that or Golden Seditious. I was trying to get an Apple thing in.
Golden Seditious is amazing.
Excellent. And just in case the nature of the bribe wasn't clear, the event included the direct presentation of the quid and the quo. Trump got handed the coercion trophy, and Cook also promised to invest a total of $600 billion on American jobs and supplies over the course of Trump's term, bumping a previous pledge from earlier this year by $100 billion. That's the quid. And that was immediately followed by the quo. Trump announced a 100% tariff on foreign-made computer chips, but also added that Apple is getting an exemption because they promised to build some vague amount of stuff in the U.S. It was during the quid part just now.
I am a free market libertarian, and that is why I cast my vote for Trump.
So many fucking liars. So This obviously happened because the top priority for the board of directors at Apple is making money for shareholders. That's also the bottom priority. It's a list of one. So the board decided to participate in the shakedown by Trump. They're one of the most valuable companies in the world. I think like third. They were first for a while. And they're cowards. They could fight this, but they're cowards. And they made Tim Cook do the cowardly grovel personally. And I guess, it pleases Trump to have the actual CEO show up to bend the knee. But Tim Cook was not a good choice.
No.
Saw this video. It's very silly. First of all, Trump thinks Tim Cook's name is Tim Apple.
Yes.
So
It does.
Timmy Apple had to present a gift with the shape of his last name on it in Trump's head, which is weird.
Yeah, I wonder if Trump demanded the same thing from the Koch brothers.
That was Donnie Jr. who asked for that. Yeah. Also, Apple put the trophy in a retail box for some reason. And we got to watch Tim Cook learn in real time that some assembly required can be pretty tricky. It's not in this case. It's just two pieces. You put the glass thing on the gold thing. But Cook almost dropped the top part like he was fucking J.D. Vance trying to hold a football trophy for the very first time in his life.
They should have put it in one of those otter boxes, the waterproof ones that you can never open after you close it a single time.
Or he should have had the trophy assembled for him by an underage Chinese wage slave like the rest of his products are.
Yes. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, if I'm being super generous, I guess this might help create more jobs in the U.S., assuming Apple wasn't very clearly just saying whatever gets them a tariff exemption. But it's not clear who's going to keep track of those jobs. So, we wouldn't even know. But now that Trump fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics for correctly reporting the latest statistics of labor. And even if Apple provides more jobs, according to Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick, we're talking about an army of people putting tiny little screws into iPhones until they get replaced by robots, of course. That job in China for the humans, at least right now, before the robots, is currently making about $3.50 an hour. So we'll see how that goes. Bottom line, the real victim here for me is Qatar. It's a weird thing to say, but I think somebody got yelled at for overshooting it with that 747. And they were like, dude, you could have just made a model plane with a little base.
When the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics got fired, I hope the last thing they did in their job was sadly just cross out their previous figure and add one to it to the number of unemployment.
All right, we're doing one more revision. It's worse than you thought by one, idiot.
It's a gigantic wall with the Roman 4 slashes with the slash through it. Just come up one more.
And in low tide news, I've mentioned before that Reform UK Limited are, at this point, the main party of opposition to Labour. And I've given you more of an introduction to Nigel Farage than you could possibly have ever wanted.
That's true.
And I've even introduced you to some of the stars of Reform's local councils, like the 22-year-old Andrew Tate fan who doesn't believe depression's real but is now in charge of a £600 million budget.
There's no way you know Andrew Tate exists and don't believe in depression. I'm sorry.
Well, at least that council leader can't go on the internet in the UK anymore because he looks 12.
Yeah, he does.
I know he's 22. He looks 12.
But while I've taken you through the highs of the party, I've not talked about the many lows of the party. So that's what I'm going to do now. Or more accurately, I'm going to talk about just one of the lows, Rupert Lowe, the former football club chairman who was elected in July 2024 as Reform's MP for Great Yarmouth in Norfolk, before being kicked out of the party less than a few months later, I think in March of this year, in fact, over claims of bullying and threatening behaviour. So, in a bid to prove that he's not bitter at all about being kicked out of Reform UK, Lowe set up his own political party, Restore Britain. No, he hadn't noticed before how similar those names are. Actually, it's just an odd coincidence. It's not at all like you've ordered a posh racist on Temu and it's come in a knockoff branded box. Nana couldn't find you Reform UK, Timmy, but she did find this Restore Britain at the discount store, and they said it's just as good.
I'm going to get laughed at by all the other Nazis. God. Give me a GoBot. Nazis going to laugh at me.
I loved the GoBots as a kid. Anyway. It's true.
Marsh has the GoBot set where they're all working at the post office because that's an exciting thing for kids to aspire towards.
Yeah, it's good. So the fact that he's not part of Nigel Farage's corporate entity pretending to be a political party hasn't deterred Lowe from doing important work as an MP, including recently protecting the shores of Great Yarmouth from foreign invasion. Because earlier this week, he took to Twitter to share a photo of a boat just off the local coast, to which he seethingly added the caption, quote, "Dinghies coming into Great Yarmouth right now! Authorities alerted, and I am urgently chasing. If these are illegal immigrants, I will be using every tool at my disposal to ensure these individuals are deported. Britain needs mass deportations now!" Unquote. Which, it actually does make it sound a bit like he was tweeting from a moving speedboat as he gave urgent chase to this horrendous invasion, lest it sully our fine golden shores.
With a name like Great Yarmouth and all the racism, I thought this was an H.P. Lovecraft story.
One of the immigrants just flashing a boob. Fuck, now I can't post my video. All right. Nobody's going to see this.
So I'm sure the people of Great Yarmouth can now sleep safely in their beds, secure in the knowledge that they have a protector like Lowe, scouring the shores for any signs of attack from the waters, ready to use every one of his tools as an MP to ensure their deportation. In fact, many of the residents, they even headed to the beach to help their fearless leader repel the foreign forces. There was, however, just one small snag. The boat in question wasn't operated by people traffickers aiming to sneak illegal immigrants in through the seas. It was 4 British guys attempting to row the length of the country for charity.
Hey, man, get away. The boob was just for fun. Please go away now. We're British.
And the crew of 4 attempting the charitable challenge actually included a guy called Mike Bates, who is a former British record holder for rowing across the Atlantic solo, who at least found the whole affair hilarious, especially the way that people on the shore were following him, quote, vigilante style. He told the BBC, quote, "I looked to my right and there was maybe a dozen individuals stood on the shoreline staring at us. I've not been mistaken for a migrant before. The best comment was the one asking where the Royal Navy were when you need them. I'm a former Royal Marine, so the Royal Navy were on the boat."
It would have been awesome, though, if the Royal Navy, rowed a boat out there really fast to check their paperwork, and then they shout back to shore, "I know this guy! I went to basic with him!"
I'd recognize that nipple anywhere. White nipple, we're good. We're good.
So all of which came as a great relief to Rupert Law, who was presumably able to end his apparently urgent chase of the 4 guys in a dinghy. He tweeted the next day, "Good news, false alarm. The unknown vessel was charity rowers, thank goodness. As a well done to the crew, I'll donate £1,000 to their charity. Keep going and watch out for any real illegal immigrants," unquote.
God, what a mistake. Now wherever he goes, there's going to be a slew of rowboats looking for a handout. Terrible.
Meanwhile, hundreds of immigrants are landing one beach over, being like, okay, well, that was easy.
And if you're wondering what Lowe has learned from this scaremongering false alarm, the answer is absolutely nothing. Because he added to that tweet, quote, "We received a huge number of urgent complaints from constituents. I make no apologies over being vigilant for my constituents. It is a national crisis. No mass deportations for the charity rowers, but we definitely need it for the illegal migrants," unquote. So essentially what he's saying is, well, the sky wasn't falling in this time, but the fact that so many people believe me when I said the sky was falling in is proof of how bad this sky falling in crisis really is.
Amazing. And in ice cold hard cash news, immigrants and customs enforcement had to rescind a cash bonus offer a few hours after it was announced. Tuesday morning, the department sent out an internal email saying it would offer cash bonuses to any agents who successfully deported people quickly. This incentive was offered to increase the speed of ICE when it came to capturing literally anyone brown and sending them anywhere but here. Trump has complained that ICE has been moving glacially slow on this. ICE, glacier. Thank you, Heath. But
I didn't want to skate over that. That was good.
But a few hours after the program was announced, Liana Castano, an official in ICE's operations division, sent out a message entitled, "Please disregard." The subject line was in all caps, like a presidential tweet or a truth or whatever.
Which is a genuine shame because Dean Cain was really relying on having that cash coming in.
Right?
He really did sign up.
He did.
He's He's just awkwardly calling back Ben Shapiro. Hey, you didn't recast anti-woke Superman, did you? No, I'll get less puffy.
No, he won't. DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin said that this was not authorized by the agency leaders. She also said that no policy like this was ever in effect. This quote from the article helps sort of with the timing of this message. Quote, the email canceling the program was sent shortly after the New York Times inquired about its existence, end quote.
Like mom and dad calling to say their flight got canceled. You got a keg party going, hide the kegs. Everybody leave. Everybody has to leave. Call everybody who's not here yet.
The agency is already offering a $50,000 signing bonus for agents and offering to forgive student loan debt. And they have the money for this because in the new bloated bankruptcy bill, we have upped the budget for ICE from $8 billion to $28 billion.
Jeez. I mean, I do like that they included student debt loan relief in there as well, though. Like, it's not a great sign for your democracy that the most progressive hope for dealing with America's student debt crisis is running a bounty system on anyone foreign.
Yeah. It's the Boba debt crisis.
Nicely done. They're still having a tough time finding the right people. Stephen Miller, governmental ghoul, has taken to social media. Here he is, quote, want to mass deport illegals from Los Angeles, he wrote on social media last week. Join.ice.gov today and get a $50K signing bonus or retention bonus. Make your family proud and be the hero America needs, end quote. He typed this out as he unhinged his jaw to eat a whole live rat.
This was fun, said Sarah Huckabee Sanders after doing the same. We should hang out more. This is really fun. This is really fun when we do the rats together.
He just sucks the tail in like spaghetti at the very end there. Right in.
Are we doing a Lady in the Tramp thing? My brother killed a dog one time.
The incentive program suggested in the now rescinded email would hand out $200 bonuses for each immigrant deported within 7 days of being arrested and $100 for those deported within 2 weeks, according to the initial memo. The memo went on to encourage expedited removal for faster cash. And now expedited removal is when they kick people out of the country without any of those pesky legal hearings.
Sure, yeah. I feel like I'm hacking this system if I get the chance. Like, I'm making friends in Mexico, and I'm just standing on the border with a big line of immigrant friends marching in a circle across the line back and forth, just ringing up bonuses, sharing the money with everyone.
Yeah, but like, again, it's not a great sign for democracy that the most progressive hope for dealing with wealth redistribution is running a bounty system on anyone foreign. Honestly, keep this up and you're going to people hunt your way into socialism.
Whatever works, man.
This is a great quote from the article. Quote, that is so ungodly unethical, said Scott Schuchart, a former senior Homeland Security official. You can't incentivize government agents to short-circuit people's procedural rights. Would you pay a bonus to judges for wrapping up trials faster, end quote? Let me answer that question here for you, Scott. Yes. Yes, they absolutely
Everybody
would.
was like, shh, Scott,
Yeah.
shut the fuck up.
Especially the judges, right?
And finally tonight, with all the absurd and terrifying news in the world, I thought we could close it out with something lighter. Radioactive wasps.
Okay.
That's apparently a real thing now. Workers at the Department of Energy found 4 wasp nests at a decommissioned nuclear test reactor site in South Carolina last week. They're calling them hot wasps.
Right, which coincidentally is the dating site for members of Project 2025.
So the article I read in the New York Times started with a headline that says hot wasps, but they tried to ramp down the panic from there. It went badly. The report from the Department of Energy said, approximate quote, yeah, we sprayed the nuclear wasps from your literal nightmare with the raid stuff, and then we put them in a bag. Pretty sure we got them all. We probably got them all. Like really close to the quote.
The article went on to say, yeah, nothing to report. One of the crew changed his name to Wasp Man after, but other than that, nothing. It's pretty routine.
And the Times also spoke with a biologist named Timothy Mousseau, who studies radioactive ecosystems. And he was also not calming. He tried to be, he was not to me. He said the flying nightmares don't travel that far from their nest very much, and said they pose little direct risk to the public. So, pleasant dreams, everybody. Good times.
Nice.
Happy note. On that happy, fun note, we're going to close it out. Thanks to Marsh, thanks to Cecil, and thanks to all the listeners who liked us and followed us on all the other various internets. Please keep doing that. Please keep listening, and please keep telling your friends. And if you want to hear more from Marsh and Cecil, definitely check out the No Rogan Experience podcast. Fantastic stuff. And if you find the naive stupidity of our giving away a free show business model to be oddly charming, you can send us gifts of money at patreon.com/Skepticrat. Just like all the generous new donors, you will be complimented next time around, and whether or not you're feeling financially benevolent like those fine people, if you enjoyed our brand of whimsy and you'd like to hear more dick jokes free of charge, check out our brother and sister shows, The Scathing Atheist, GodAwfulMovies, D&D-, and Citation Needed, available in all the podcast places. We just have one last thing. Let's compliment that penis. Special thanks to Ryan Slotnick of Evil Giraffes on Mars. He is the creator of the virtuosic musical stylings you heard today, which were used with permission. You should definitely check them out using the links we'll provide or by Googling the only band called Evil Giraffes on Mars. Until next time, catchphrase sign off. The preceding podcast was a production of Puzzle and the Thunderstorm, LLC, copyright 2025, all rights reserved.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/day to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/day for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
If you work as a manufacturing facilities engineer, installing a new piece of equipment can be as complex as the machinery itself. From prep work to alignment and testing, it's your team's job to put it all together. That's why it's good to have Grainger on your side. With industrial-grade products and next-day delivery, Grainger helps ensure you have everything you need close at hand through every step of the installation. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.